So let me just start out by saying, um, when I got ready to leave work a while ago, my higher up boss asked me what I was going to speak tonight on, and I told her what I was going to talk about. And by the time I got in the car and got about halfway home, the Lord had re-put something else on my heart that He's been dealing with me since yesterday on, and I was trying to get away from it, but He wouldn't let me. So here we go. Before I do that, though, I just want to say this. You know, I'm amazed on danger, the danger that is involved with this virus. And I'm not just talking about physical danger. We know that. We see that everywhere with people being sick and losing loved ones. And I'm not trying to take away from that part of the danger. But you know, I noticed today through flipping through Facebook, there's a greater danger in this virus. I mean, it has become a split of families. I mean, there's families that are split, and there's people that are fighting over, should you be vaccinated? Shouldn't you be vaccinated? Should the kids be in school? Shouldn't the kids be in school? It's like it doesn't matter what your opinion is or what your mindset is on this. It's not right by somebody's standards. And I was just amazed today that just the fact on whether kids should be in school or not, there's people on Facebook just arguing back and forth on it. And I thought with all the things that we've got going on, it's just amazing of what we'll find to argue about. And that kind of goes along with what I'm going to kind of just touch on tonight. Not going to be long-winded, not going to be a lot of talking, but yes, Sister Renee, we do need to pray for our military. That is true. Yes, we do. And but just I got to thinking as I growed up, we would play different games. We'd play chess or checkers, and we'd play Candyland, and we'd play Monopoly, and there was all kind of games that we would play. But the easiest game probably out there to play is the blame game. And right now, it seems like everybody is involved in the blame game. They're playing the blame game, and they're this one's blaming that one, and that one's blaming this one, and this church is blaming that church, and this politician is blaming that politician, and it's just like everybody's blaming everybody for what's going on. But you know, the Lord laid something in my heart yesterday after Brother Doug called me, and he mentioned this, I think last Sunday, it might have been the Sunday before that, of the verse that everybody likes to quote, 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which is called by my name, and you really, and we all know the verse that if you would humble themselves and turn from the wicked ways, I'd hear from their land, I'd hear from heaven and heal their land. But I just want to touch on that very first part of that verse. If my people. If my people. You know, I looked up that verse, Brother Doug, and in every translation but one, and I looked at about 25 different translations. I looked up some translations I had never even heard of the book they was talking about. New Life Version, Young Adult Version. I mean, there was ever a version you could think of out there, and there was about 25. And that verse was so similar in every one of the translation except one. Every translation that was in there kept that verse almost word for word from the King James Version. And what I want to focus on tonight is, and what I want to bring our attention to tonight, that I believe the Lord wants to bring our attention to, is those first few words, if my people. Now, I'm not going to sit here tonight or come on here tonight and condone sin and condone this and condone that. That's not what I'm going to talk. That's not what I'm trying to get across tonight. So just get that out of your head now, and let's just do away with that thinking right now. But that verse says something that I don't know that a lot of people realizes or a lot of people thinks about. It said, if my people, which are called by my name, which are Christians, if they turn from their wicked ways, and but yet, we want to blame, here we are in this blame game, we want to blame the world for what's going on. When in reality, the world is just acting like the world. He didn't say if America would turn from their wicked ways. He didn't say if the sinner would turn from their wicked ways. They turn from their wicked ways and they get salvation. That's where they come in with salvation. It didn't say if the bar goers would turn from their wicked ways, or if the whatever. Put anything you want to in there. Put any sin you want to. Put any worldly activity in there you want to. If they turn from their wicked ways, if we close all abortion centers, and I'm not justifying abortion, but it doesn't say if the abortion clinics would close. It doesn't say if the bars would close. It doesn't say if everything closed on Sundays where everybody could go to. It doesn't say any of that. It clearly says, if my people, which are called by my name. So that tells me that the only ones that can get a hold of heaven and make a difference is the children of God. We have to quit blaming the world for what's going on, because it's not the world that he put the responsibility on to wake up heaven and to shake heaven. It was the church. He put that responsibility on right square on the back of the church. And I believe what has happened is we have been rocked to sleep and lullabies so long that now we're in a real fight. And I'm not sure that we know how to fight anymore, because we just haven't had to do it in so long. And now we're in a time of desperation, and we're in a time of serious warfare. And some of us don't know where our armor's at. Some of us don't know where our sword's at. Some of us don't know where. And hey, I'm speaking to me here too, not just y'all out there in the Facebook world. I'm speaking to me. The Lord and that might be why I tried to get off this for the last 2 days, but the Lord has spoken to me about this too. It's been so long since we've had to sure enough get in the trenches and fight, that I'm not sure that we have a generation that knows how to fight anymore. I don't know that we have a generation of prayer warriors that knows how to get into prayer closets and get a hold of God and fight spiritual warfare anymore. You know, I'm going to say something, and I'm going to just say it and take it for whatever you want to with it. And if I see the numbers start dropping, I know maybe it wasn't taken very well. A lot of people have swapped in their prayer closet for their prayer Facebook. You see it all the time on Facebook. God's going to heal this land. God's going to do this. God's going to do that. But I wonder if we just put in that because that's what we believe is going to happen, or have we prayed and asked God and seek God and asked Him to do that? Have we bothered to to actually get in our prayer closet and get on our knees? And have we bothered to do that and ask God, God, heal this land. God, heal our pastors. God, heal our churches. God, heal our people. Or we just, or is all our prayers being done on Facebook now? Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with asking for prayer on Facebook. Nothing wrong with dropping a little prayer on Facebook and all that. That's not what I'm not saying that. But if that's the only time you praying, then I don't know that God really prescribes the Facebook, so I don't really know that He's getting it. Now, He may, but I just don't know that God is strolling through Facebook reading your prayers. But I tell you one thing I do know for sure. I do know that His Word says if we will get on our knees in our prayer closet and we will bombard heaven with our prayers and our hearts and our groanings that only the Spirit can pray, because we don't know what to pray. I know He hears those. I know He hears those. And I do believe that this is a judgment, and that might be for a lack of better words, on America. So I'm not saying that it's not, that we're not fighting these spiritual warfares right now because of the corruptness in America. I believe that. But I'm just saying that the America is not going to stop their corruption because of this. God said it's up to His people, which is called by His name, to turn from their wicked ways. Then He would hear from heaven. Not if they turn from their wicked ways, but, the church is part of that blame game too. And it's hard anymore that the church wants the Republicans and the Democrats to get along. They want the rich and the poor to get along. They want the races to get along. The church does. The church wants this one to get along with that one. Why can't we have peace? But then you get in the church world, and the Methodists and the Baptists can't get along. The Pentecostal and the Church of God can't get along. The Church of God and the Assembly of God can't get along. That's the strife that we need to heal and come together. It's not whether the Republicans and the Democrats get along, the rich and the poor. They need to get along, I give you that. But the strife that really needs to be healed is within the church world. The Bible says if two or more will bind together in His name. It don't say if two Baptists bind together, or two Methodists, or two Pentecostal, or two Church of God, or two this, or two that. He just said if two people would bind together. And that's what we need tonight, is we need for people, the church, to come together. We need His people to come together. We need His people to bind together. We need His people to turn from their wicked ways. It reminds me of the story of Lot. And I just thought about something on the way home a while ago, and Brother Doug, if you're still on, you might can help me with this. But where Lot lived, Sodom and Gomorrah, it wasn't overnight that they got in the shape they was in. That was years coming and years of different things happening. There was a whole list of sin that Sodom and Gomorrah had. There wasn't just that one. There was a whole list of sins. And Lot lived there, and I believe it wasn't until Lot got complacent in his living and got okay with where he was living and okay with his surroundings, that when God done something. And here's what I started wondering on the way home a while ago, is if Lot even was talking to the Lord anymore. And the reason I wonder that is because God didn't go to Lot and tell Lot he was fit to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Brother Danny, we will do that. We'll pray for y'all. Yes. He didn't go to Lot and tell Lot about destroying. He went to Abraham, didn't he? So it makes me wonder if Lot had even quit talking to God. Is the reason he went to Abraham. I don't know. I just thought about that. And it brought up the fact about, and the reason I was thinking that is because about prayer. Is this a shaking of the church to get people to start praying again and seeking God again? It's very possible that this, the first time it went through, we kind of obeyed by all the rules and done what we were supposed to do, and didn't really affect the church that bad. This time it's really affected the church, and I wonder if it's because we didn't get complacent with the first time around, and now. So what I'm challenging you for tonight is, and I'm challenging myself, get back in those old-fashioned prayer closets. I used to hear stories of, and Brother Doug might, and some of the other ones, Sister Wanda, y'all might have heard these stories too, but there'd be people that would come to church and they would be just, arms would just be black and blue with bruises. And they would tell that they went into spiritual warfare and went into prayer and came out like that because they was in a spiritual battle in prayer. And I just, you don't see that no more. You don't see spiritual. I haven't in a long time since seen what I would call somebody in a spiritual warfare praying for somebody and battling for them. I hadn't seen that in a long time, and I think that's what it's going to take for us to get out of this that we're in. Is we're going to have to find an old-fashioned prayer closet and get back into spiritual warfare and get into praying. In Acts chapter 13, verse 3, before they sent Saul and them out, they fasted and they prayed for them. They fasted and prayed for them and laid hands on them. We don't do that kind of stuff anymore. And I don't know if that's. I'd have to believe that that's part of what we're missing in spiritual battle and spiritual warfare, is that fasting and that praying, and the need for that. I can remember in Tipton one year we went through a major drought and hadn't rained in quite a while. I don't remember exactly how long it's been, but it had been a while. And some of the local churches there called for a fast and prayer until it rained. And it wasn't but about 2 days later it rained. I think it rained for about 4 days straight. And so I just want you to, that's what's on my mind and my heart, and what the Lord's dealing with me about is getting back into that old-timey spiritual warfare and that old-timey prayer closet praying, and maybe meeting before church and praying and after church and praying. And it's wonderful to put a prayer request online and see all these comments and the praying hands under the comments and all that. That makes you feel good. But I want to know that people are really out there praying and not just put prayer hands on there, or just saying I'm praying, or I'll pray, or whatever the case may be. I just think that it's going to take some old-fashioned fasting and praying and to get out of this thing and stop the blaming everybody else, and and taking evaluation, taking inventory of our own lives, and what is it in our lives that we need to turn from, that God will hear our prayers and hear us. And so, hope I said something tonight that will get you to thinking. Hope I said something tonight that God can use and plant a seed into your heart that will encourage you to get on get on board with praying and fasting and seeking God and self-inventory and just really just get a hold of God and putting all the other things aside, all the other denominational stuff, all the other political stuff, all the other opinion on the vaccination and the mask, and put all that else to the side, and uh, and just really get a hold of God. And remember, he said, if my people, not if the Republicans or the Democrats or the rich people or the pastors or the Sunday school teachers or the janitors, he didn't, that's not what he said. He said, if my people. So we need to bind together for each other and lift each other up. And I'd encourage everybody to read James chapter 4 tonight or in the next couple of days and really study into that. But I'll be praying for y'all. Y'all pray for me. And look back on these comments and these names that was mentioned, lift them up. And I know what you mean. Yeah, wherever that alone time you can get with God is important, and we appreciate the prayers and all. And as far as I know, unless Brother Doug puts something different on Facebook, I'm gonna try to do Sunday school Sunday morning. All is invited. Y'all come out. We'll start at 10 o'clock in the social hall. And we'll see y'all Sunday. May God bless you. And let's pray for each other and lift each other up.